There are many ways to lose on the challenge, but one instance of a game losing decision slash moment that sticks out in particular is Amanda and Zach in Final Reckoning. In episode 13, they came in as the only team who could not be voted in or chosen to be in that particular elimination. Yet by the end of the elimination, they found themselves being sent to the Redemption House. This topic of who was right and who should have listened to whom has been hotly debated for years. I would say in my comment section as well as in the fandom in general. I thought for this video I'd give arguments for both sides, try to see things from all angles, give some points and counter arguments to really get down to what decision would have been best. Who should have compromised and listened to the other person? Now, I do want to preface that, of course, my perspective is from someone outside of the game, along with my own personal response will be given later on in the video, but for the most part, I'm going to try to give everyone equal time, stick to the facts, and give everyone the benefit of the doubt. But first, we should get into some context. Season 32 Final Reckoning was basically a Rivals 4 having players paired up with someone they had some kind of arguments or disagreements with during a season or two. Amanda and Zach were paired up despite them not having any direct clash with each other at that point in time. Prior to Season 32, they only were on one other season together, that being Invasion of the Champions. Zach was barely on the season as he entered the game in episode 5 and was back on a plane being sent home by episode 7. Amanda's main nemesis was Jenna. It started back in season 29 with Amanda spreading around the house that something spicy happened between Jenna and Bruno while traveling to Thailand. Their rivalry leaked into season 30 with Jenna sending Amanda directly into the Redemption House. Eventually Jenna would be there too, and it ultimately led to Amanda and Jenna going head-to-head in a competition to see who would make it back into the main house. The challenge production team decided not to pair Amanda and Jenna together. Instead, Jenna was paired with Jemmy. On Dirty 30, Jemmy did Jenna dirty, sending her into an elimination against her BFF Kayla. And although both Jenna and Kayla had a prosperous season 30 lasting longer than Jemmy, this rivalry took priority over the real rivalry between Jenna and Amanda. Zach, who needed a partner and was affected by this drama too, inherited Jenna's rivalry and was paired up with Amanda. Some other context to go over is the number situation. A fox once said, "The game is won with numbers, not personality." Looking at the original cast, Zach and Amanda were in a really good position. They were players who normally played on opposite sides of the house, so on this particular season, they had some potential of being well insulated in every direction. Some of Zach's closest allies in the game were Kyle and Brad, whom he worked very closely with on season 31, Jenna, of course. With Jenna comes Kayla. Zach had played on numerous seasons with CT, so he was good in there. Same thing with Cara Maria, and Tony, who entered the game in episode 2 to be Johnny's partner. Now, over on Amanda's side, you have Nelson, whom she was partnered up with in season 28, and who was from her original season on Are You the One? Shane and Sylvia were very close allies, being a part of the Lavender Ladies Alliance. Marie and Jemmy were friends of the Lavender Ladies Alliance, not official members, but good acquaintances of the Alliance. You have Joss, Sylvia's partner, and romantic interest for Amanda on this season, and funny enough, Kyle. Kyle was like the glue that held Zach and Amanda together. And what's better than connecting over friendships is connecting over people who you want to target. And the 4-player/2 teams that Amanda and Zach agreed to target early and often were the Big Brother people of Paulie, Natalie, Jose, and Davon. Now, if we jump to episode 13, Amanda and Zach had a big time decision to make. The house split the votes, tying it between Benoni and Hunsley. Zach and Amanda had to come to an agreement on who out of those two teams needed to be sent in. But who should listen to whom? Who was in the right? Well, let's get into some arguments. One argument on Zach's side would be who has had the most success in the challenge between him and Amanda. As of 2026, Amanda has yet to make a challenge final after competing on 8 seasons, while Zach, at the time of filming Final Reckoning, had already been to 3 finals and having won in his rookie season, Battle of the Seasons 2012. Also, one of those 3 final appearances happened on the season prior in Season 31 Vendettas, where Zach was coming off what I'd consider his best season stats-wise in that he won 6 daily challenges, won into the Troika 4 times, and made the final coming in 2nd place only behind Cara Maria. In Season 31, Zach was a competitive beast with a social game that was pretty on point, since he never went into an elimination or was nominated when he wasn't a part of the Troika. The closest Amanda came to making a final was Invasion of the Champions, when she came 1 elimination win short of punching her ticket to the final. Now, a counter-argument to that is that it's true that past success and experience can greatly help in a challenge season, but I also don't think that every season should be looked at as equal. For example, Emmanuel is a challenge champion. Does his challenge win feel the same as, say, Bananas in Free Agents? No. But no matter how much anyone tries to poke holes in Season 39, the fact is Emmanuel is and forever will be a challenge champion. So when you take a look at Zach winning a team season with Frank doing all the strategizing for him against a mainly rookie cast where 72% of the competitors on that season didn't do more than 2 seasons afterwards, I take it with a tiny grain of salt. It's hard to win any season, and I wouldn't take that away from anyone. A win is a win. I'm just saying not all wins feel equal. Also, some attributes out of either Zach and Amanda's control could contribute to their success and lack thereof. Height being one of them. I could say Zach, being a 6'3" man, weighing in over 200 pounds, helps him in many aspects of the challenge, like winning an Oppenheimer against Brandon, whereas Amanda's 5'3" slender frame has troubles against, say, Nicole Z in Inside Out. In the context portion, I brought up the numbers and showed that at the start of the game, they each had roughly the same amount of Alliance members. But by episode 13, those numbers drastically changed. Jenna, Kayla, and CT were all eliminated. During the season, Zach and Tori had a conversation, came to an agreement that they would never say each other's names, but by episode 13, Tori was already eliminated from the game. Melissa, who was a close friend with Kyle, was also disqualified. Kyle and Brad had lost an elimination and was sent to the Redemption House, leaving only Cara Maria and Tony left as his only Alliance members in the game. And really, you could give a little asterisk to Cara Maria because she was all over the place this season. She had this like on again, off again thing with Kyle, also trying to make Kyle jealous by flirting with Paulie, and I already mentioned that Zach and Amanda were not the biggest fans of Paulie, so you could say that Tony was the only real Alliance member left on Zach's side. But when it came to Amanda's friends, you had Shane and Nelson still in the game, Joss and Sylvia still in the game. At one point, Cam and Kaylee were also playing with the Lavender Ladies, but they were sent to the Redemption House by episode 13. Ashley and Hunter were a huge addition for Amanda and her numbers, and she had a very strong friendship with both of them. Marie was still in the house, Kyle was sent to the Redemption House, and Jemmye had been eliminated by that point. Also, what nobody knew at that point was that Corey and Devin were coming into the game, which are +2 numbers for Amanda, as Devin and Amanda were friends from their original Are You the One season, and Corey is close with Nelson and Ashley. Really locking in this like hybrid of the Young Bucks and Lavender Ladies for the Young Lavender Squad. From a pure volume perspective, Amanda had an overwhelming majority of numbers for her side. But somehow, Bananas and Zach were trying to twist it up and say that that was a bad idea. Now, Bananas' argument is that if Zach and Amanda went to their side and chose to look after them, you'd only have to look out for one team instead of like 5. And look, I understand what he's trying to say. You know, if you're trying to help too many people, that can come back to bite you in the butt. However, that mainly becomes a problem when you're trying to play both sides of the house. And that clearly wasn't happening here. Amanda wasn't trying to appease both sides. She had one clear side, and that was against Cara Maria and Bananas. Zach's argument was that Amanda had so many teams at her disposal that she could lose one or two and be fine. But think about it from this perspective. Couldn't all the teams that Amanda is friends with decide to turn on them once they send in Ashley and Hunter? If Bananas and Tony are the outcasts of the house that no one wants there, aren't they cornered with no one else they could really work with? So Bananas and Tony can be salty if sent in, but if they won back into the house, there would be no other people to work with besides Jose, Devon, and Zach, or they'd just be on their own. The main worry with a bigger alliance compared to a smaller alliance is a point that I have to agree with Bananas when he says that your whole alliance can't go to the finals with you. You can't bring everybody to the final. And that's where it's vitally important to know the pecking order of your numbers. If you're thinking that 3, 4, at max 5 pairs can make it to the final or close to the final, you gotta do the math and you gotta know where you stand with everybody. If you're outside of that range, it's better to jump ship. Go to be somebody's number 1 rather than be the 5th or 6th option. But if you're top 2 or top 3 with people that you can fully trust, then I say that you are 100% good. And to me, I feel like Amanda was definitely in that top 3 range with multiple people. Now, speaking of trust, just because you have so many numbers doesn't mean anything if you can't trust the people you are aligned with. Now, of course, Amanda trusts her alliance, and Zach trusts his, which is Tony at this point. But how would they view each other's alliance members? I can see Zach feeling nervous about how volatile Amanda's squad can be. On the course of this season, Shane started fights with both Devon and Bananas, which then led to big arguments between Amanda, Cara, and then everyone else in her alliance and in her room. We already saw a disqualification for players putting hands on one another. Is your crew putting you into bad situations? Also, in previous seasons, we've seen Nelson get disqualified for losing his temper. What's to say that's not going to happen this season as well? Also, Hunter is bad-mouthing Ashley so much. How reliable are they to even work together, let alone for them to have your back? Cam and Sylvia manipulated the whole house without telling anyone else in their alliance, which can be scary. What else could they lie about or hide from you later on in the game? From Amanda's point of view on Tony and Bananas, Bananas is a 6-time challenge champion. He's good at this game and can be good at getting what he wants. Leaving him in the game any longer is dangerous. He knows how to win, and we've seen him do whatever he can to get far or cause chaos. The biggest question is how loyal Zach is to Tony. In season 31, Tony blindsided Bananas by throwing him into an elimination against Devon. That's how they were able to be paired up as rivals for this season in the first place. If Tony was willing to throw in someone he deemed the quote Jordan to his Pippen,
I'm Scottie Pippen. If y'all are trying to call me Michael, that's not okay.
What's to say he wouldn't do the same to Zach? Especially given they only really played one season together. Sure, Zach and Tony were both on season 29, but for like 24 hours together as Tony was sent home the same episode Zach entered the season. They only have one season working together, so this I'm never saying Tony's name ever seems so quick as a forever alliance. Now, another argument that could be brought up is that the House vote was tied. 3 votes for Benoni, 3 votes for Hunsley. You had Cara Marie, Benoni, and Devon and Jose voting for Hunsley. But think about this. Can you really rely on Jose and Devon to be a consistent vote for your side? Like, they've been on the outs the entire game. You don't think that they would just float to whoever's in power and just vote however they want to vote, knowing that they could be sent in at any point, at any time by anyone? Also, isn't there a red flag for Zach's number 1 to be willing to work with Zach's number 1 target? With this decision being made at episode 13 out of a 19 episode season, truly with the format of the season, all Zach and Amanda had to worry about was coming in last place for a purge. First place only got an extra vote in safety, so no worries about being sent in by the power couple. Voted in players got to call out anyone that voted them in for the elimination. I don't think anyone would be bold enough to vote and be ready to be called out by Amanda and Zach for an elimination. But also, in timing, this was a perfect chance to take a big swing. Tony and Bananas were a very strong team, not just physically, but just overall. Like I previously mentioned, Bananas' resume speaks for itself with him being a 6-time challenge champion, and Tony was coming off his best season, which was Vendetta's. I don't want to sound rude, but being this late in the game, why would you go to bat for a team that had a 6-time challenge champion on it? Ashley is a challenge champion as well, but she only won once. The rest of the young Lavender squad were not champions. None really came close to winning a season besides Nelson in season 29. With being this late in the game, I'm going to lean towards the inexperienced players in the final rather than risking my game to save a 6-time challenge champion. Well, it kind of feels that maybe my perspective maybe leaked out towards the end of last segment, but here's my official perspective on it. When taking a look at everything and how the season was coming down to the wire, I personally would have sided on sending in Bananas and Tony. It's hard for me to put logic in laying my game on the line for a 6-time challenge champion, along with Amanda having so many numbers on her side, as well as I think they would have a much easier time in the final against Amanda's friends rather than wanting to run the final against Bananas and Tony. Also, if you're Zach, you lost to Bananas in Free Agents and Battle of the Exes 2, and you lost to Cara Maria last season. I always felt Zach and Amanda might have had a great chance of winning this season, especially if Benoni and Cara Marie were out of the game. Honestly, real talk, if these two are guilty of anything, it is never looking at each other as partners. They were so combative with every conversation, losing sight that they only succeed if the other does as well. There were no changing partners or the format changing to a solo game. I think Amanda always felt disrespected, so she felt she needed to fight and yell just to be heard. While Zach, on the other hand, I think maybe felt like he was hitting his prime. He just came off of a fantastic season in season 31. He was continuing his winning ways in season 32 by winning more daily challenges, not being sent into eliminations. Also, something else I think, the idea of, well, Jenna is gone, and if I'm miserable, I'm sure I'll be on many more seasons. So if I somehow were to go into elimination and lose and just be sent home, it's not the worst thing in the world. Amanda and Zach couldn't agree, thus sending themselves into the elimination, where they lost to the incoming mercenaries Devin and Corey. Zach sustained a nose injury that eventually got them medically DQ'd. Upon their elimination loss, Zach said that this will teach Amanda a lesson, and she will see that this will be the biggest mistake in her life.
Amanda needs to realize that this was probably the biggest mistake that she's made in her short, awful life.
But I don't know about that. Amanda would be back to play on 4 more seasons after Final Reckoning. The best performance she had was losing the elimination right before the final to Tori in season 37. She doesn't seem all that concerned about the challenge as she's too focused on being a mother, has a career as a nurse, and has gotten engaged in late 2025. After Final Reckoning, Zach would be on 2 more seasons. You see, after throwing his game away for Bananas, he and Zach would have a falling out on the next season when Zach threw a ball to Wes during a daily challenge. Bananas would call out Zach for the elimination, but lucky for Zach, he won this time. His next closest chance of winning was getting 2nd place in War of the Worlds 2. We'd see a glimpse of him and his Invisalign on Total Madness as he was super mad at Jenna and guilted her into coming home in the middle of the season. It was rumored that Zach possibly found messages from years ago between Jenna and a possible challenger from when Zach and Jenna may or may not have been together at the time. Rumors circulated that possibly something happened between Jenna and Tony during Dirty 30 when they were both in the Redemption House together. That would be rough for Zach, especially looking back at the decision he made in season 32. It's been nearly 7 years and 14 eligible seasons since we've seen Zach compete on the show. In that time, he's gotten married to Jenna, became a father, and even started a challenge Patreon/podcast. On the podcast, he's talked about being blacklisted from the show due to his attitude, and in a more recent clip circulating, he talked about wanting to do another challenge season just to get a sense of closure.
For me, going back, this is the last time I'm gonna do this. If it is, I can walk away with that closure from that part of my life.
Yeah, versus them closing the door on you.
Right.
Maybe looking back, Zach feels he took his time on the challenge for granted. Maybe he thought he was going to have a ticket to every single season and that it'd be his decision on when he would hang it up. Maybe after becoming a family man, he's thought about the legacy of what he left behind on the challenge, or what could have been if one moment went one way or another. All I'm saying is, I don't know if Amanda is the one sitting around regretting losing Final Reckoning. If only she was the one with the challenge Patreon talking about how she wished she had more chances at playing the game.
There's $125,000 on the line, and I would put aside any amount of pride to win that money.
I know that there will be people in the comments who will agree with me or who think I'm completely off base. In whichever camp you fall, please leave me a comment down in the comment section below. Please be kind down in the comment section below and give constructive criticisms for what you think is the best move or what each person should do. At the end of the day, any move besides sending yourself in is the correct move in my book. But I still agree that they should have listened to Amanda in that situation, with all the reasons I listed in the perspective segment. But for now, I just want to say I hope everyone enjoyed the video. I also want to give a shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who's watching this video up to this point. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.